What do you think? I can't resist. We have to understand your perspective on this. What is really going on with race, blacks and whites, in LA? Is it, how much of it is real? What is real in LA? From your experience, what was real? How much was the genetic race, color of your skin thing an issue? What did people really think? Police and black people and white people in LA?
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where, well over 90% of people don't look at race as being a factor in relationships. At the same time, there's been enough historical racist attitudes that people of color have had their hearts emotionally damaged through probably legitimate racist attitudes toward them that they've picked up on. And the thing is, when someone's been injured that way on several occasions, they may misinterpret other occasions and think, oh, it's because I'm black, it's because I'm brown, or if it's a gender thing, it's because I'm a woman, which may be an interpretation, but it's a re-injury. So for them, even if it wasn't racist on the part of someone that in some way disrespected them, they experience it that way, and it's another injury. So we do have people with injuries. Now, my injury has never been feeling the victim of racism, but I've been injured by some of the struggles that I had as a child through my parents' breakup and my mom's drug addiction and psychiatric things, and trying to actually save her life when she had overdosed, and she made me aware of it, and I called 911, and they're saying, don't let her fall asleep. If she falls asleep, she'll die. Keep her awake, walk her up and down the living room until help gets there and things like that. So I've had a lot of wounding, and a lot of people have had a lot of racial related wounding. So it's a real thing. But I've seen attitudes of racism in Los Angeles significantly decrease over the decades that I've been there. And I think we're getting to a point where, we are starting to get past it, but we'll never be past it 100% because it's in human nature to connect more closely with the people who are most like us. And it's in human nature to be more suspicious and rejecting of people who are more different than we are. I had the benefit of growing in a blended neighborhood, so I never saw any difference, and I didn't grow up with a racist attitude, and nor did my neighbors of any type or color or gender.
I love that you had your experience probably seems like it. You grew up in Watts. You're in the police force. You went through both major riots in the 60s and 90s. You probably have one of the best, wouldn't you agree, one of the best perspectives on race in LA. You were a police officer, grew up in Watts, or a kind, gentle man and a Christian, and you've lived through the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And so you're saying, in a word, what has been going on? Many people of color, and black and Mexican, have been injured by racism things. Many people have been injured, and you can relate with that because you've been injured yourself by traumas with your mom, which are very substantial in how it affects you growing up. I had a similar story. I understand. I can relate. So you've said that, yes, there has been racist attitudes that have been hurting people in Los Angeles for a long time, and you've seen it decrease. Mm-hmm. When did it start to decrease, and how? Did it decrease to the point of, like, I never even noticed it in LA. Never have, ever in my life. I've never seen any racism ever. Okay. When did you see it decrease, and how long? To what extent?
Well, there was conversation that occurred among officers, and people who have strong biases or racist attitudes don't seem able to keep it completely secret all the time. So others can kind of pick up on who seems to be racist and who's not. And it was my perspective that over time, and I don't know all the reasons for it, it has consistently decreased. And I think, it could be in the educational system, drawing awareness to it, emphasizing the importance of being sensitive to others and accepting and understanding where they're coming from. And I've always been a really good listener, so I kind of really connect hearts with people when they share their heart, honestly, with me, regardless of what their background is or where they're coming from. And I kind of feel like if I had their life experiences and was exposed to the same educational opportunities, the same reading materials, the same TV shows and family history and that I would share their worldview. And the reason that I have a different worldview is because I have different life experiences and exposure to different educational opportunities. And maybe race relations in the educational system has helped to reduce the amount of racial animosities in Los Angeles and throughout the country.
What do you think, from all your amazing experiences, what would you say has been going on in the last 4 years, 2 years?
Well,
what has driven the madness? How much is media? How much erupted out of the social consciousness?
Right. So the media always plays a really huge role, and I used to look at it primarily as the media has to sell newspapers, or they have to sell TV and radio and now internet. So they need to make money, so they try to sensationalize and make things a lot bigger than they are in reality to get people worked up emotionally. But I think in addition to that factor, there's also political agendas that are a driving force to try to divide Americans. And I think today, people are really fed up with all of the division that's been created, and there's just a desire to see more unity between Republicans and Democrats, between Republicans and Republicans, and just among our neighbors and things on Facebook. People are tired of the animosity, the hostility, the division, the insults, and we're all ready to take a very long break away from that and get united.